Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Unleashed and Uncensored, the Inline Canine podcast. Today's guest, someone pretty renowned in the dog training world. So today we have Justin Rigney on our show. So I'd like to thank you, Justin, for coming and looking forward to having our chat.
My pleasure, bro. I like the name already. I didn't even know the name of the podcast, but
yeah, I got you, man. Just wait. You and I are pretty much identical. I believe you. So yeah, like realistically, wide open here. That's what I love. I joke that you especially you, but like I joke like you can't cancel me. I'm too cemented already, so I'm over it. So it is what it is. So if you don't mind, can you give us a bit of your background on how you got into dogs and where you're at currently now with dogs?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's, my introduction to dogs is not like this huggy, kissy, puppy breath deal, man. I grew up and was really born into substance abuse, to violence, to dysfunction, and animals saying my love language, man. My father was a violent alcoholic, and what I learned very early on is that, people are dangerous. They have ulterior motives. They're up to some shit where, animals are pretty transparent about their needs if you know how to diagnose their behavior and understand what their agenda is, man. So I kind of gravitated that quickly, man. We grew up in a rural environment in Connecticut, just me and my brother. So that's kind of all we had, man. So it was really my escape. Actually, initially it was horses, man. Horses were my first love.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I wanted to be a jockey as a kid, man. And I discovered food in the gym, and that shit was shattered.
I was gonna say, you poor horse, yeah.
Yeah. And I still.
So what year? How old were you when you kind of found dogs and kind of started that process early on in life?
I would say the interest was sparked in my early teens, man. Like we had rescued a German Shepherd, man. He was about 100 pounds. He was all black. He had gotten hit by a car and got dumped at a vet clinic, and people bailed. So the vet did the work pro bono and then put him up for adoption. We grabbed him.
Wow.
Okay. And he was probably a couple years old when we got him, bro. Super cool dog, like nerves of steel. Like he was our dog from the minute. Like he'd grown up with us. Very cool dog. Awesome. And a few weeks, maybe a month or two into it, man, he was very cool all night, man. But one night he started going ballistic at the front door. Like he wanted to go through that shit. Like we just chalked it up to maybe an animal being outside or something. And, then next morning we discovered that my father's boat had 2 outboard motors that had gotten stolen.
Oh, man.
So, bro, like a couple things happened to me at that point in time. And you know how God's plan kind of works and evolves, and you see things materialize later. But in that very moment, 2 things struck me. Number one, becoming a victim of a crime, like, enraged me, man. Like, I wanted to hunt these fuckers down. Even as a kid, like 13 years old, like, I don't know what I was going to do when I found them, but
I love it. Yeah.
That fucking enraged me, bro. And then the other part was really being fascinated with the animal and really telling myself I'll never not listen to a dog again. Like, they're absolutely telling us a story if we know how to
trust your dog.
Yeah, we know how to decode their language. And, it put me on a path later in life to obviously, get into law enforcement and then work a dog. So it was the best of both worlds. And, I tell a lot of people, man, my career, my time in law enforcement, man, it was an amazing opportunity and time. And there's a lot of people that I did help. Like, helping people was part of it, bro. I got some addicts that wrote me letters from jail. I put them in jail for their charges, and they said that they never would have gotten clean, and I saved their life by, finding them and doing what I did.
Yeah.
But I won't bullshit you, bro. Like, hunting bad guys with a dog is where the juice was at for me, man. So
yeah, I hear you, man. No, that's I love that, because you're right. That's there's nothing. I mean, at the end of the day, we joke, but there is nothing like hunting men. There really isn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people never want to and or get to experience that. But I think a lot of people in our positions, police, military, understand it and embrace it. And embrace that role as a man and as a protector as well, right? So, how long were you a police officer for?
I did 17 years total. I did nice. Just over 5 with one agency, the Davie Police Department, right outside Fort Lauderdale, South Florida.
Okay.
Very fortunate to work Canine there. The first dog that I used was for my breeding program. So I had a dog that I bred. I saw him take his very first life in breath. I held him in my arms at 12 years old when he took his last. And between those 2 breaths, bro, like the experience that I got with him and the things that I witnessed, and watching him evolve into a very strong police dog and really fucked a couple bad guys up. He had 2 street bites before I left that agency, left Canine, and then went up to Palm Beach County in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I finished out my career, the initial little bit over 12 years. and worked 2 dogs, and it was the absolute wild, wild west up there, bro. Like,
so I've heard that. I've heard Florida is like, I mean, you can't throw, the joke is you can't throw a rock and hit 10 dog teams in Florida. So like, is it just wide open there? Like, why is that? Is that like from an agency standpoint, like in terms of rules of engagement, or is just the people, there's a lot of people to be bit?
Well, it's crazy, man. Like, my wife was a retired cop. She did 25 years with the Hollywood Police Department, which is right outside Fort Lauderdale, in the shit. She was in undercover narcotics 10 years. Anyway, long story short, man.
Oh, fuck.
She loves watching, like, crime drama shows, like, Dateline and all that shit, bro. Like, I don't watch much TV, but I'll walk through the living room and watch. She'll have the show on TV, and it's always fucking Florida. Like, it's always Florida, bro.
It's so true, eh? Yeah.
It's wild, man. So, I think it's a mix, bro. Like, the people are out of their fucking minds down there. And I don't know whether it's the fucking ultraviolet rays, the heat, the sun, like, it just melts their brains. But it's amazing kind of wild mix, because you have, especially in South Florida, bro, it's very liberal. So the criminals can do no wrong. The people with badges were the hunted ones.
Really?
So, yeah. Oh, it's crazy, bro. Like, nobody does time down there for shit. Like, which is the complete opposite of most Florida. Like, or is it's areas? Well, you get up to like Central Florida, man. Like my buddy Jay Nix, man, he works for he just retired from Marion County, and the fucking sheriff loves Canine so much. Their body cam footage is on social media before the motherfucker's done bleeding, right? Like, very pro cop, very proactive agencies, and of course you got Grady Judd up there, man, who's just a gangster. So really, from Central Florida up is where they can still do the job. Well, that's not true. We had a county that bordered us called Martin County, where my buddy Ronnie works, man, and they, back in the day, it was again the wild, wild west. Like, and the criminals knew, like, we'd be like, quote unquote, following them up I-95 northbound, and the fucking animals would do a U-turn at the county line, because they know if they crossed into Martin County, they were getting fucked up.
Yeah,
it's wild, man.
That's when you know the reputation is real, I guess. Yeah,
yes.
And like you just said about the body cam footage being online before they're done bleeding. That's I know you probably have heard this, but like, that is the complete opposite of fucking Canada. Let me tell you, that's the complete fucking opposite. I will just leave it at that. But like, it's very different. I mean, obviously, there's some agencies up here in some of the bigger towns that still do quite a bit of biting, and especially. So I'm surprised based on Canada and some of the bullshit kind of policies we have in place. But there still is a few agencies that seem to have that backing and support that get a lot of work done, which is great. Okay, so you go through. I mean, not to dismiss being a cop, because we could talk about that for 10 hours.
Sure.
When did you get into the canine side of things with the police?
Well, it's kind of a weird mix, man. Like, a lot of people get into law enforcement, see the dogs working, and then they pursue that career path. For me, it was the opposite, man. I was in dogs first. Actually, the first dog job I ever had was running a guard dog service for a very dear friend of mine who was my very first mentor. He had everything kind of full-scale kennel. He had boarding, training, grooming, guard dog service. He was doing puppy classes, detection. He was doing bite training. And of course, the guard dog service, where I learned A to Z kennel management. So it was an absolute blessing, my first mentor. So through him, I met people in a sport dog club. It was actually Schutzen back then, IGP now. And back then, this is in New England in the 90s, early 90s, and they were putting up a lot of hardware in the Schutzen world. So my first indoctrination into working dogs in that club, I was just kind of mind blown. I remember like it was yesterday walking into that club and just seeing dogs heeling with their heads up, and the decoy cracking the whip and the dog not giving a fuck, and going into a machine gun hold and bark. I'm like, this is fucking sick, man. So, and as God would have it, man, the training director of that Schutzen club was also a cop, also a canine trainer, and the director of what was called the Connecticut Police Work Dog Association.
Wow.
I'd played pro baseball once upon a time, and I was still a little bit of an athlete back then, loving decoying. He's like, hey, man, meet me out here on a Wednesday night. So I met him at this place. It was Wednesday night group canine training. A bunch of agencies got together, threw me in the suit, and I was fucking hooked, bro. And, just seeing the camaraderie and the war stories and the dog bites and shit. Like back then, they had Polaroids, man. They didn't have these smartphones. So they'd bring Polaroids of the dog bites, and I'm like, fuck, I need this in my life, right?
The perfect catch. Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Oh, I love to hear that. It's funny, side note with baseball, like, so I didn't know that you played, so I'm a diehard baseball guy. I grew up playing it, and then I'm still, out of the 162 games a year, I probably watch like 140 of them, man. Like,
Very cool.
I love it. I'm a diehard Jays fan. So this year was fucking annoying seeing them have 2 chances to win 6 and 7 and still lose, in which a series would I thought they outplayed the Dodgers, but at the end of the day, just couldn't get the meaningful hit, right? So that's interesting. So, okay, so you start in dogs, you kind of work through that, you get into the IGP Schutzhund piece.
Yep.
And at what point did you really transition to the pet dog side of things?
Well, the whole time I've been doing pets, man. Like I said, my dear friend Chris Byrne, who had that company, I was running the guard dog service. I had learned everything. My foundation started with him, puppy classes, pet training, and I've never stopped doing pets. Over 33 plus years, man. They've always been a staple of my learning experience, but also my livelihood. So the entire time I was a cop, man, I always had 4 or 5 board and trains in at a time. And, you know, my wife now, she's incredible. So she's always handling those dogs when I was at work. And
that's awesome.
And once I retired early from law enforcement, man, I just dove back into dogs full time, man. So everything's come full circle, starting a civilian world with the dog world, getting into law enforcement, working 17 years, 10 when I was in Canine. And probably had north of 80 plus bites between 3 dogs. And it wasn't uncommon for handlers to retire their dogs in the glory days with well over 100 bites down there, man. We saw a lot of action. Yeah, we saw a lot of shit, bro.
Insane, yeah.
You know, I was sitting in the police academy, bro, when that first plane hit the tower 9/11. And, you know, it was a wild time, bro, like a tragic time, but never want to go back to 9/11. But bring me back to 9/12, bro. Like, that's when the world really embraced us. And there was pro-law enforcement. We could do the job. The agencies were behind us. Yeah. Like, our lineups, we'd go to work and have a lineup before we'd hit the road. It was like a football prep rally, bro. Like, it was just such camaraderie. But then that all changed in 2008. So, but still very, very grateful for those experiences, man. And now it's completely different, but...
Well, for sure. It helped shape, what you're doing now and kind of who you were, right? So when we talk about the pet side, so one thing I really like is finding people who have both pet and working dog experience, because this isn't super common, right? Like there's only so many people out there who do a ton of pet work and have gotten to run dogs from a police and military standpoint. So what would you say some of the biggest takeaways, when people who work working dogs, what would you say to them as someone who works both, and what you've taken away from the pet dog side that's really helped you transform, if anything, your working dog side of behavioral understanding or anything like that?
Well, I tell anybody that I'm in front of, man, again, I'm very blessed to be able to travel and train and teach, do a lot with the different folks. And I've been very fortunate to work with some folks in the SF community, military folks, tons of law enforcement. And no matter who I'm in front of, I say, if you really want to learn how to train dogs, you must learn how to train pets first. The working dogs, there's a lot to it, don't get me wrong, but these dogs are genetically engineered to have the behavioral traits that we need for our end goal, no matter what it may be. But like, I just finished training a wolf hybrid, man, and I documented most of her process. And that dog, again, 30 plus years in this, she made me pull out things in my toolbox I didn't even know existed to kind of make sense to her. Yeah. And when you have a dog that's got a very, very weak genetic blueprint, right? Like, nerves are fucking nonstop firing up. Their thresholds are super low. Their flight response is immediate. They don't even want the oxygen coming in out of their lungs, let alone your food, your toys, your praise. Like, so when you take that dog into your program and you can kind of flip the script and have them bang a 180 and have them really understand their job, look like they're comfortable with it, understand, like they realize that there's pressure in play. Yeah, but they're happy about life. They understand.
They can push through a little bit. Yeah,
100%.
Bro. What would you say some of the biggest takeaways of that were, like working on it? So like that, because that's what I always say to people is it's one thing when I can just pull out a ball and get a dog engaged. That's great, but like realistically from the pet side, that's not honestly the norm, right? So it's getting the doodle to recall to me when it won't leave their parents, or the border collie who's sees a fucking squirrel, or a shepherd who's engaged with other dogs, getting them to recall from play, like little things like that. Like, people don't understand the genetic standpoint of that in terms of the nerves and how that plays, because I think genetics it's starting to become a bigger thing in terms of known more to the public, you know, and people understanding that genetics, how important they are, right? I mean, the working dog side, we've seen it for a while now, but I think the pet side, it's starting to, I find around here anyways, I'm up in Ottawa in Ontario, and I find quite a bit like people are starting to understand like, oh, my breed has specific traits, or my, you know what I mean? Where it's not just I wanted, and this drives me nuts, but like I want a husky because they look pretty. Okay, great. Right. But did you know, the border collie, this and that. So I find that interesting. So what was some of your biggest takeaways in turning a dog who, you know, didn't like the air it breathed to maybe happy to work for you a little bit? What were some of your big go-tos? You know,
man, there's so much magic and pressure, like appropriate, well-timed pressure that's communicated through very neutral body language, where the dog understands that they're in control of mitigating that pressure. And you know, there's not one pack, not one pod, herd, school, like pride of any animals on this earth. There's no living organism on this earth that lives in an environment that's free of pressure, that's free of conflict, free of discomfort and loss and deprivation. Like, this is not heaven. Like, every species and organism on this earth suffers through that. And
that is our role. So well said, by the way. Yeah, that's very true. Yep.
It's our role and responsibility as the dominant species on the earth to communicate with these animals in their mother language, not the anthropomorphic dream Disney language that we want to project on these animals. And and for me, bro, it's like we're coming into a big battle here with the force-free fakes, man. There's some organizations that have deep pockets and a loud voice. And it's not you and I that we have to convince, bro. We understand that balanced dog training is the path to have dogs live and thrive in harmony.
Yep.
It's the layperson we have to have understand this process. And the layperson are the lawmakers and decision makers, the juries and the judges that will sign off on this fraud to strip us of our tools. And the dogs will only suffer because of it.
I mean, you see it in Europe. And now I was just in Australia working with their military, and like based on certain states where they were posted, they could use or couldn't use e-collars. And my initial statement, like I was pretty dumbfounded by it, to be honest with you. I was like, okay, sure, for the average dog owner, but like, you guys have like a waiver for that, right? You can do whatever you want. Well, no, we have to follow the rules. And it's like, are we fucking kidding me? We have off-leash military dogs without any fucking control. Right. And that's from a safety standpoint, not even from an actual training standpoint as well, right? So that was quite interesting. It kind of blew me away, and I really hope that type of mindset doesn't come, because you're right. It's the people that don't have a clue that are going to be in charge of making those decisions, and that's what scares me personally about, you know, taking away an e-collar or, you know, prong. People think prongs are so evil, right? Because they have this look, right? Yeah. Or they think the goal is to hurt the dog, when it couldn't be further from the truth, right? I could hurt a dog with a leash with a 2-inch collar. I mean, I could be an asshole with anything. The goal is you just don't, right? And you talked about that pressure, you know, turning on and off pressure and teaching the dogs through, I mean, something simple as a dog, like you described, using body language to turn that on and off, right? Whereas some dogs don't care necessarily about that. I'd need to use maybe a leash, a tool or whatever, but like, that's where you go through the range of motions, I imagine, in different, like you said, your toolbox to find something that the dog understands and how to turn on and off.
Yeah, and all of these packs and pods, these herds, there's consequences for unwanted behavior. There's a hierarchy. Like in these
imagine that.
Yeah. Like through God, these dogs are hardwired to clearly understand how to shut off pressure. It's woven into their DNA. Like, no dog trainer had a sidebar conversation with each dog and said, hey, bro, step into my office. Let's talk about this pressure. Like, it's innate. Like, it's when the sperm hit the egg, the dog gets it. Again, it's our role and responsibility to communicate that process in a very fair way with great timing that's appropriate. Now, what I found, especially with this wolf dog over the years, man, is that, you know, when dogs are conflicted, they have 3 options: fight, flight, and freeze. And these nerve bags are deep in flight and sometimes in freeze, but, you know, freeze and flight can kind of teeter-totter, but fight is usually kind of its own standalone segment of those choices. But, you know, what I've learned over the years are these dogs that are deep in flight, nerves, like they have no idea where they're running, but they're running like Forrest Gump until the wheels fall off. But when you communicate to a dog that you eliminate the option of flight, and that's communicated in a process where the dog understands that they're causing their own pressure. that it's very impersonal, and that's done through like very calm body language, very calm hippie, like chill chemistry. And ideally for me with a dominant slip lead that's, fit high and tight under the ears, right under the chin, not causing ongoing discomfort. But when the dog tries to book it into flight, they cause their own loss of blood and oxygen to their brain, which is a sedating effect, right? And then like once you occupy the animal's brain with how to undo that pressure puzzle, we see the flight response start to dissipate and the dog's nerves start to settle, right? And a lot of times the example I'm giving you is when dogs won't eat in a board and train situation. Like they come into board and train, like they're fat fucks, they're obese, they're overweight, so they're obviously like food in certain contexts. But because they're in flight, hunger shut off. And the example I use for that, and I use a lot of like human analogies or other animals that people can kind of grab, is you imagine that we're out in Yellowstone Park, man, which is like the luscious green grass on earth. And you have a herd of elk that's eating that green grass, like thousands head of elk chilling. Then a wolf pops up over the horizon and the pursuit is on. Like as those elk are running for their lives and they're expressing their bowels, expressing their bladder, like lightening the load as a stress response, are they thinking about that lush green grass as their hoofs are booking it, trying to get away from the wolf? Fuck no, the hunger shut off. And those pursuits can go on for a very long time. It's the same thing. So deep in flight, it's an automated response in an animal to shut that hunger off as a survival instinct. So once you eliminate the option of flight, and then the way I like to do this is on a place board. Like the dog has no idea what place means. And I'm facing a mirror. The dog is behind me. The place board is off to the side. And I just use my hands. I'm like sitting right now. You can't see it, but my hands are very low. I'm facing away the dog. And the beauty of working in the mirror is I don't have to turn and look to the animal and give social pressure. So as I'm using fingertips, just coming forward towards the board, the dog's creating their own panic. And just by accident, I just give forward pressure. Their one paw just glances and grazes the place board, immediately shut off pressure, give them leash. And then throughout that process, more and more, I ask for 1 paw, 2 paw, 3 paws, and 4. And then they realize that being on place is a sanctuary. Again, they realize that flight's not an option. They're causing their own pressure. They get on top of that board. They experience harmony, no pressure whatsoever. It's a sanctuary. And then you start to see the hunger come back. And I have a big old stinky pouch of food like on my waist, and I'm not trying to offer that to them. I'm waiting for the anatomy to settle and the nose and the brain and the stomach to start speaking to each other, and watch the dog's nose start kind of creeping towards the pouch and saying, I think I'm interested in what you have. And the longer that you do this, man, like when a dog comes in, I can say, he's a day or two away from eating. That dude's maybe 3 or 4 days. And I'll go, that motherfucker ain't never eating without an intervention. Like we have to get after this shit. And usually what happens if the camera's never going because it looks like shit. Like I'm very transparent with the owners. I'm like, hey, he's nerved out. Absolutely. He's not eating. Just trust the process. If it looks like it's a problem, I'll let you know. So normally, and there's nothing to post because it looks like shit. But what I started doing is actually filming because it's miraculous. I can't tell you how many times this has happened where the dog won't eat. I apply appropriate pressure that is almost like a miracle for the animal because they don't want to feel this way. Like we can have this little intervention to cause momentary pressure that they believe they're causing. Again, man's best friend, they love humans, the bond is very important, the pack is their number one drive, but they're very narcissistic. And if they realize they're causing their own misery, they will unfuck that process if the path is clear. And through this little process, I make it very clear, and the dogs just absolutely thrive with pressure. And that's, again, my argument to the force-free fakes. They'd rather these dogs live in misery under medication and like withholding them from life instead of just addressing these problems.
No, that's bang on. I have the same problem like you. It's hard to take these people seriously because at the end of the day, the whole, well, I love my dog, I don't want to hurt it. Okay, so you're telling me you love your dog more than we love our dogs, then that's what I'm hearing, right? And my dog gets to travel in cars, it gets to go off leash on trails, it gets to, you know what I mean? Because I understand this, there's a clear communication system in place, right? And obviously, like you just alluded to with that, using the mirror and the pressure, backing the dog and then just, through successful approximation, just them touching the fucking thing is good enough, right? And I love that because that sounds pretty like an extreme case, right? Because I mean, for most cases, you just guide with a slip lead and then create your own little rhythm, right?
Sure.
But I do I'm with you. It's the exact same concept, just teach them how to turn pressure on and off, right? And then you can do that with the slip lead, and then with the e-collar, and then you carry on building your communication system, right? So what would you say, right now, where your focus is in terms of, pet dogs versus, because I know you're traveling quite a bit, doing a ton of like seminar stuff, working dog. Do you, would you say, you do more working dog stuff than pet dog stuff right now?
It's a mix, man. And it's a weird deal, bro. Like when I left South Florida, my agency had 4,000 employees, bro. And I've been retired about 8 years now. Yeah. That I never had to advertise once, bro. I didn't know shit about social media. I couldn't edit a damn video. I had a constant waiting list because of word of mouth advertising. Like, cops have big mouths and they like what you do. The word spreads. If they don't like what you do, the word spreads. And then coming into Knoxville, not having a footprint in this market, I had to really learn social media. I dove into Gary Vee and try to figure this shit out. I'm still like, it's all growing pains for me. But
your AI is pretty bang on.
that should kind of happen by accident, man.
Yeah, it's like you look great as a girl giving people shit.
Yeah, no, it's just the perfect thing, bro. So that my wife came up with a concept of blocking people, which is funny as shit. Then Nick White came up, who owns Off Leash Canine, a good buddy of mine, awesome dude, came up with a face swap, and it's just become this own fucking thing, bro. I get more engagement on that shit than I do my best training video. So
isn't it funny, eh? It's because non-dog people will see it too, you know what I mean? Versus just, so you kind of open up your arcs. But I love seeing how creative you get with shitting on people who decide they want to tell you you're fucked up. And it's funny, you and your 12 followers, they shit on, like, it fucking blows me away, man. Oh, always, man. They're fucking useless. It's somebody sitting in their mom's fucking basement for sure. Yeah, that's always the problem. So quite a mix of different things going on. So talk to me about the NEPO post side of things, because I mean, obviously this is I would argue one of the bigger things that you're pretty well known for, across the country and into kind of North America and wide is this communication system that kind of has different levels that you've created to help people move forward in training, right? So why don't you walk me through those who might not know what NEPO is and the different levels that you offer.
Well, unfortunately, I'm no longer allowed to speak about that organization or that trademark. I got kicked out of that probably about a year ago. Okay. It's unfortunate. I hold Bart in highest regards as one of the best dog trainers on the planet. In my opinion, they got a little bit greedy about trying to force everybody to use the Martin Systems e-collars, which, again, my experience, anecdotal. I have a lot of video and evidence about that collar being an absolute piece of shit. Frying dogs for no reason when I'm not holding a remote, completely failing across the board. They wanted to package it as the e-collar that's going to save animal welfare. Well, it's the anti-animal welfare collar, because I've seen it fuck dogs up for no reason.
Why is that? Why did they, like, what's the deal with it? Why did they say it would be any better than any different? Like, what's the purpose on that?
Well, here's the thing, man. I'll give credit where credit's due. Like, every manufacturer of e-collar stimulates differently. They all have a patent on the way the collars stimulate. Like Chevy's motor is different than Ford. The Martin system stimulation is the best on the earth. Like, the neurological signal to the brain, it's a very activating kind of like motivating kind of sensation on the animal's skin. It's amazing. It just fucking doesn't work. And I would say the failure rate of that tool is probably north of 75%. I can't tell you how many fucking devices I've had in my hand that absolutely shit themselves. Whether they just come unpaired and stop working, they won't fucking charge, they roast dogs for no reason. Like, the problem is they try to get too futuristic with all the fucking cutting edge technology, and none of it works. Like, again, this isn't just my experience. Millions of people do. So anyway, long story short, it is a fantastic training system that I was very much invested in. I knew Bart long before he met his wife. Now, I've been in the system before it was the system. I've watched it evolve. It's fantastic. But they got greedy and they tried to, nothing says my e-collars don't work, and when you try to force your membership to use them. And so a lot of us, I would bet if I ever do have a conversation with Bart again, because unfortunately this severed our relationship, which I was heartbroken about, because I love the guy. Again, hold him in the highest regard as a trainer. That if I ever have a conversation with Bart again, I would guarantee you would hit the recall button on that whole decision, because they lost a tremendous amount of respect, a tremendous amount of momentum. Like, the system was really picking up speed, picking up a lot of notoriety. and getting a lot of good talented trainers behind it, and they fuck themselves big time, bro. So unfortunately, I can't speak about it. I do have all the knowledge of the system like in my toolbox, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So okay. So redirecting on that, then, in terms of your training mindset, kind of modality wise, regardless of the dog, when you take a pet dog in, what would you say your training philosophy is approaching your pet dog training?
No matter what dog I have in my hands, man, the very first thing is we're gonna put them in existential food training, if possible. That every calorie is consumed through my hands, through wanted behavior, through engagement, and that speaks to a predator's mother language, bro. Like that's their love language. They get that shit, and so I'll go do an evaluation in somebody's home, like. There's a mountain of food, like it's a free feed buffet, right?
Yep.
It's overflowing in the bowl. The dog is a fat fuck. And the owner's like, he doesn't have any food drive. I'm like this fucker looks like he swallowed a blimp. So I'll take a handful, I'll go to the bowl, take a handful of that food, shove it in my pocket, go to another part of the house, and all of a sudden I'm the coolest thing in the world. The dog's like, yo, you got food in your pocket, bro? What's that about? Because what it really is a hunting behavior. Like the dog has to hunt and do the puzzle and the riddle to make you reach in your pocket and get it out. And that little mystery taps into a predator's deep instinct, man. So although they're not wolves like we used to have and they used to be back in the day, we've morphed and we've domesticated them, but they still have these God-given predatory instincts, and we can tap into that with the way we communicate and provide food. And it's not for every single dog, man. And if I won't get into it, it's another long story, but I left law enforcement because I had to sue my agency because I got thrown out of Canine because they were fucking starving dogs to make them perform for food-based training. And I simply tried to fix it. Long story short, I got kicked out as a result, filed a whistleblower lawsuit, which I ended up winning. But long story short, like how we feed dogs and providing dogs sustenance that they need is very, very much a hot topic for me. So you have to be very careful about not only how you word it, but how you implement the system. So if the dog's not taking food in a short amount of time, like a few days, like you have to do the analytics here, either change the system or change the dog if it's a working dog. If your system is about food-based training, then you must get an animal that aligns with that ideology. Now, again, it goes back to the other pet dogs. We can work with a pressure on, pressure off system, as we discussed. And again, my background in horses, that's basically what it is. There's much more brilliant horse trained, like guys like Monty Roberts and Clinton Anderson, some brilliant people that really connecting deep with the horses. But pressure on, pressure off is an animal gets that life. And so anyway, long story short, man, it's first things first is creating ignition, creating a desire to have like a tangible reward system that we can utilize to make sense to the dog and start putting them through the thousands of repetitions that it takes to install deep muscle memory.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I when I talk to my clients, like one of the biggest issue I find is like free feeding is a big one. Free feeding and like having a house full of toys, right? And that like literally mounding from the fucking over the the little toy basket and one of the reasons we talked, same reason you talked about the food is the toy side. It's like, well, my dog never doesn't know how to actually relax or shut down. It's anxious. It keeps moving because every time it fucking stops being pet, it goes and picks up a toy. And then once it's done with that toy, it wants outside. Once it's done outside, it comes back, grabs a pig's ear. When it's done with the pig's ear, it grabs, like, in what world is that fucking healthy for anyone? Right. Think of that dog's central nervous system and how fired up that thing is. And now, me telling him to come and he's like, well, fuck you. I have everything right here. Right. Exactly. We, it's funny. We talk about socialism. let's broach this topic. Right. Yeah. So we talk about like fucking, if on a level, which we see it all across North America, if people understand they don't have to do anything to get the same things as people who do, they're not going to. If there's food in the dish and toys on the ground, why the fuck is my dog going to work? There's absolutely no reason for him to do that. He has a full belly. It doesn't matter. I get my toys when I want, and I get pet when I want it, right? And that's the same concept, and that's what we're running into in life with fucking today's society, right? Nobody wants to work because I can still get it anyways, right? And that's one of the biggest issues I find is people not understanding, like you said, accidental feeding and or allowing their dog to actually turn off every now and again. That's the thing I see a ton of, like Velcro dogs, anxiety type stuff. So,
and it's and people's good nature, man. They think they're providing for a dog, like, and what social setting has socialism ever worked? And part of it too is like what happens. The beauty of board and train, and I don't like my trainer Rebecca, who's amazing. She does one-on-one lessons, but really the angle of one-on-one lessons is to educate folks on you need to bring the dog to board and train. Because in board and train, we can bring the dog down to Maslow 1, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like food, shelter, water, pack, like the very bottom rung. And of course, it gets up to the Ferraris and the fur coats, and as we get higher up into the tip of the spear of Maslow's hierarchy. But most dogs are living with the Ferraris and fur coats and all the free shit. And it makes no sense to a predator. It makes zero sense. Like people will get these dogs that come in and they'll give me bags of medication and all this shit. and all this fucking crap that they think the dog needs. And the long story short, the dog's living under so much stress because its needs are not met. It's, the dog's, the love language that the dog understands has never been spoken to it. And it's just the dog's confused and stressed. They come in a board and train, I take that bag of shit, throw it on the fucking shelf and start speaking dog to the dog and treat it like a dog. And what that means, the way a dog understands, and they fall in love. And we don't need any of that shit. The skin clears up, like it's wild, man.
The trazodone wears off. Fucking, it's so crazy. I did a board and train recently where it was a miniature husky, really nice fucking dog, extremely driven and engaging, which is different from a husky. Man, this thing just wanted to work, and as soon as I took it in, all it wants to do is go and a bag full of medication, traz, because it's anxious and everything. I'm like, okay, let's stop. So I did my thing, and then I went home. I went to their house to do their at-home training session. Really nice people, want to do right by this dog. Great people. He's in a good spot. Just mounding of toys and treats everywhere, just like consistent. I literally was talking to them for 2 minutes, explaining some different things, and like the dog just went from toy to toy to toy to toy to toy. Like he didn't know how to turn off, right? And like you said, and I really hope people take this aboard, is understanding how to speak dog and treating them like a dog, right? Treating them like a dog doesn't mean you're mean to them, or people think it's less than or something. Like, dogs crave to be treated like themselves. They need to be treated like a dog. You do a disservice to a dog by not treating them like a dog and treating them like a human. This is how you end up with medication. This is how you end up with a Velcro dog. This is how you end up with dogs that, you go near their master and they bite you because there's no confidence. There's no, right? It's disappointing to watch, man. Like and you said about Rebecca and teaching and then guiding the dogs back to your board and train anyways. It's like, because a lot of our training is, a lot of our trainers and stuff is out in people's homes and areas, right? And obviously you can accomplish so much more if you take a dog back and work there. But explaining training and explaining methodology, philosophies, and getting somebody to implement into a house that, say, they've already done 2 years of one way, it is difficult, and that's where the communication has to really be on point, right? And I find that's the biggest part of dog training is, people always say, "Oh, you're really training me." I'm 100% training you. Like, I mean? I'm literally 1% training the dog, 99% training you to train the dog, right? And that's one of the biggest takeaways I find of having to train people to train dogs and not just train the dog itself. Because at the end of the day, they always have that variable that you need to fix, right? That's why reactivity and aggression,
No matter how much counter conditioning you do, no matter how much generalizing you do, no matter how much deep muscle memory you create in new behaviors, you'll never, ever be able to undo the human dysfunction that goes untreated and unregulated. And when these dogs come back into their homes where the behaviors were established, where there's deep memory, deep dysfunction, deep mismanaged communication between human and dog, it's so hard to unfuck that, right? And that's the hard part. And with doing one-on-one lessons, the analogy I use is like trying to diet in a chocolate factory. Like, let's say you come and do a lesson with somebody and you have an hour lesson where it's magical. You see great repetitions. You explain everything A to Z. What the fuck happens the other 23 hours of that day and the other 6 days of the week? Like, it's so hard to get ahead unless you have that rock star client that is fully invested, will do everything you say. And the reality is most don't. So for me, the path is us bringing the dog into board and train, installing all those things, and then teaching somebody to manage those things and maintain them is the easier path, for sure.
No, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. It's about resetting, installing new software, right? And through repetition and creating reliable and repeatable, behaviors, and then having that handler understand how to then carry that on, right? Because again, if you don't, as soon as they go back home, people wonder why, their dog's reactive. Like, they'll walk down, they'll come to training, they'll come to group training, they'll come to these sessions, the dog's fine, perfect, doing well. And then they'll walk home, and then they'll walk in their neighborhood, and it's like right back to fucking day one, right?
Yep.
And it's like, well, why does my dog do this? Well, because your dog has rehearsed for this fucking play 1,000 times, right, and he's been self-rewarding 1,000 times. Whereas anywhere else you go, you've cleared up that understanding, right? So I think one of the biggest things I found is how to get people to change the narrative of, lack of communication in areas that they see issues still. You know what I mean? Like in their own neighborhood, in their own home, right? Oh, my dog's perfect when I bring him to like a walk downtown. Great. Why can't you get that same behavior in your house or outside, right? Because like you said, the other 23 hours a day, the other 6 days a week that you're not doing that hour-long lesson, what does your communication and consistency look like? Are you holding the dog accountable? Is he being rewarded? Dogs are creatures they're manipulative little creatures. They're in it for themselves. Like I know everyone loves to think that their dogs love them, and they do, but they love them because of the rewards that you give them, and that they always want a self-reward, right? That's what a dog wants to do, is self-reward, right? That's like you talked about, that predatory instinct. Like, how do I get what I want, right? So can I ask you a question about e-collars? Regarding that other question, when you talk about working dogs, let's stick to working dogs for a sec. For you as a trainer, what kind of e-collar do you like to lean on? Like, what's your weapon of choice there for that?
My day-to-day is e-collar technologies, man. For most of the pet dogs, it's the Mini Educator. I do a lot of my conditioning with the Mini Educator, but then my real go-to is the FE580, which has the Bluetooth finger kick. And the other beauty of that collar is that it's got rising stem. So once a dog,
as you tap it?
Yes. So you hold down continuously, it's going to climb the ladder, and you can dictate the pace of the climb.
Nice.
And as soon as you reach that point where the dog realizes they've made a poor choice and they self-correct, when you let off, it goes right back to the original level. So you can use momentary on the same level. All of a sudden, the dog books it after a cat. You can lean on the button, climb the ladder, pressure's let off, and again, it's just magic, bro. And for an operational person, people that are working dogs in the real world, they can have that finger kick on a molly of a vest. And have it set to that magic level on rise, and just have that fingertip control instead of digging for a remote, try to switch levels. It's the hottest collar the e-collar tech has as well. So it's got a little bit shorter range, but it's got a little extra heat, hotter than the Boss if you need that. And a lot of what I do is I travel and train coast to coast and work with folks in all different capacities. And a lot of what I come across is dogs that won't out, like that have a lot of bites on the street. They're just they've learned to fight through e-collars. Like I could give you like a diagnosis of how they got there. It's a whole two-day seminar.
It's the same shit. Like that level anxiety, no clear communication system. Like it's
Well, there's places in this country, like here in Tennessee, bro, there's no state standard for canine. Like you could literally go to a pound, check a dog out, and go fucking nuke people. Like here, they can do the job. But what happens is when these dogs start biting people more and more, the wires start arcing. They begin to short circuit. Like it's like growth hormone for their drive. So when I come across these dogs that are fighting through e-collars, my go-to is the Sport Dog 1825X. Which is the strongest collar in the market in my experience. And it's got a cheat code. You can go into the owner's manual, unlock higher levels. And I also run e-collar technologies long comfort wings on that device too. So, and that device also has rising stem. It doesn't have a finger kick, but it's on the remote where you can set it to rise. So that shit, when dogs are mutants and they're one percenters, like that collar makes sense to them for sure. Yeah.
Instead of just removing airway and stuff, this is a sharper, clearer way to get the point across. Yeah. No, I love that. And so many people are, people might listen to that and be like, well, fuck, why you need to go to that level? And it's, you don't understand. Like we're talking operations now, like this is something that needs to be fixed in order to protect people and save people, right? Like whatever that might be. Like it's important that a dog understands where its boundaries are left and right, it's people that don't install that boundary or don't hold dogs consistently accountable for those. That's when we see issues. And you talked about the, you know, the four main: food, water, shelter, and pack, right? Like the pack side, people don't understand how big hierarchy is in the world, right? Like you think dogs just, you know, you've seen that video of that, I think it's like a King Charles, the couple dogs are like fighting, and a King Charles comes from the background somewhere, and like there's a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd, they all move out of the way for him. And it's just, I loved that video spoke volumes to people understanding, like, there's a hierarchy, even though that German Shepherd would fucking destroy that dog, or that, you know, there's that respect for pack hierarchy, whatever that might be, right? How that dog got the pack, who knows? But it's interesting to watch people in their own homes and understand, and you quickly understand why there is aggression issues, why there is reactivity issues with, you know, taking a bone away, taking a toy away, taking all these things away, and it sucks to watch people face this over and over and not have a clear solution for it, right? Like not understanding that, you know, they've treated the dog like a human for so long that the dog just took over, and that's an issue. We run into that a lot.
You know, the dogs have a genetic blueprint, man. There's things that are in their genetics that we can't rewire. And what happens over time is that things start to manifest. And most pet dogs are bored senseless, bro. Like their biological needs are not being met. There's no fulfillment. And then they pick dumb shit to channel their energy into. And maybe it is like fucking hovering over a bone and getting rigid, fucking growling. And as soon as a human retreats, drive goal reached, boom, fucking it's single event learning.
Reinforced. Yep.
Yes. And there's no creature on earth that studies, reads, and analyzes a human being like a dog. Like, people don't get this. Like, not even fucking primates, bro. Like, a dog is so hyper vigilant about reading us in their environment to fulfill their needs and find their advantage in every single situation. Like, over the top 365 24/7 analytics, bro. And people don't grab it. They think it's just a lump laying on the fucking couch. Fuck no, bro. Like, there's not, like, every single behavior a dog demonstrates all day long, all year long, has a very specific reason, purpose, and a goal behind it. Like, and we think that they're like us. Like, humans are weird fucks. Like, we daydream, we say things we don't mean, we live fucking double lives. We have fake profiles on social media where I fucking block you. Like, we are bizarre creatures, bro. Dogs are not. Their agenda is very clear. Like, every behavior, sniffing, eating, breathing, shitting, barking, like, everything they do has a goal behind it. And if it works, they'll continue to do that shit faster and faster and faster. And that's why I don't fuck with aggression cases, bro. Like, I've been bit a million times. I've dog bit a lot of fucking people, and I'm sick of that shit too, getting bit. Trust me when I tell you. But the reality of it is, it's the same thing we've been seeing. Like, I can make sense to a dog coming into my board and train. Like, I'm off the fucking menu, and everybody around me is too. And a dog, we may not even see it in board and train, because the dog's been stripped down to Maslow 1. The triggers aren't there. They learn very quick not to FAFO, like, I'm not that guy. But as soon as they go back into the environment where it was empowered, it was allowed to manifest, and that human being fucking hesitates for a second and doesn't apply the same type of pressure or body language that we did to mitigate the aggression. And I will say this, bro, like, I go toe to toe with some very well-known trainers. Like, when it comes to real aggression, when it comes to, like, deep reactivity, there is no extinction. It's mitigation and management. It is always fucking lurking.
Yep.
So
I know that's, you know what, understanding when it's either all about the management or, recommending euthanasia, right? And that's, and nobody wants to fucking hear it, but at the end of the day, that has to be an option, right? Especially, we joke about breeds and certain people. There a lot of pit bulls, let's say, are, there's a certain type of people that have pit bulls, right? That's kind of the, it's not for the lack of anyone not loving them. They're amazing, and they're sweet dogs, and they're great to their owners, but they're also dangerous as fuck. They can be, right, with that mouth. So it's, understanding that there's a limit. There might, your dog might never be able to go nose to nose or off leash with other dogs, or walk down the street without a muzzle. And understanding these things, and not just try and correct your way out of it, or it's about management or mitigation at that point. And
totally, man.
I've seen that more and more.
I love dogs to death, bro. Like, dogs literally save me and have given me a purpose in this world. In the same breath, there's some dogs that need to fucking die. And these people that say like, oh, there's no bad dogs, or, you know, I got my peers, bro, that will dress up in a fucking bite suit and work dogs on catch sticks. I'm like, fucking hats off to that. But let me see them in the home months later. Like, so long story short, bro, like, it's like some of these motherfuckers are criminals. Like, I was a cop for a long time because why? Because the human population knows the law very well. They don't give a fuck what badge, what gun, what stick, what boot, what fucking dog is coming to get them and put them in a cage. They're still going to commit crimes. There's fucking dogs like that. There's dogs that are fucking medieval and sinister, bro. They don't deserve to be on this fucking planet. So,
and that saying that, just saying that and acknowledging that, like, I imagine you got a lot of pushback from that, or have heard that. Like, not that you give a fuck. I just mean, because I brought up the same thing. Like, at some point, what are we doing here? Like, what it's like working dogs when you know how we can fix them. Well, why? Who fucking cares, man? Get a new dog. Now you've just saved more time. Like, yeah, it cost you like a little more money, let's say, but now this dog is reliable out on the street, getting, you know, repeatable reps. Like, it just, you have to know when, you know, the joke, when to hold them, when to fold them. Like, at some point, make your call, man. Just be confident in it and understand it, right? And
those folks that are going to die on that hill, they haven't seen dogs, bro. They have not.
No.
I see it on social media, bro, with all the sport work. Like, you have never, like, I can see in somebody's demeanor the way they decoy and where they handle. Like, you have never ever been fucked up by a dog by you, and you've never seen another human been fucked up by a real dog. Like, I can tell immediately in their demeanor. Like, you have not seen that shit. You have not seen that side in life in dogs, and it's showing, you know. So they're not, again, the dogs have changed so much over the years. Like, they're much softer than they used to, and those savage dogs were how I was born and raised in this game. Like, I was very fortunate to learn on very, very strong fucking savage dogs that would fuck you up, and you couldn't break them, bro. Like, now they're very different. The dogs are very different.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And you see genetic lines changing all the time, right? Like, I mean, you know, what the flavor of Doodle is this week and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So is it just you and you, Rebecca? Is that the way you run your location now, or you got a bunch more? Is she your only trainer? Do you have others, or? So
I have two others. I have two canine handlers that work for an agency near me that I did their handler school. I did their trainer school, and they both take pet dogs home as well. So,
oh, nice.
And what I found, man, the cops are the perfect mix, bro, because all we do all night long is mitigate fucking shit. Like, they know how to talk to people, they know how to put out fires, and of course they understand the dog side of it too. So like educating your public, educating your client, really having that ongoing line of communication, like the best people for that are cops, man, that I've found.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You know, even, I mean, board and train aspect too, but even just communication, right? Them understanding how to talk to people. That's huge. Cause that's, you know, when you talk in this business, like look, you literally talk for a living, right? You talk and teach, right? Like, and that's, if you could be as good as you wanted to be, but if you have no way of properly communicating that, or it's not being understood or well received, at the end of the day, the business dies, right? Like, and that's, you know, and I enjoy watching your stuff as well. Like, I believe we're very, very similar. But I enjoy hearing the communication aspect, because that's one thing I pride myself on as well, as being able to explain things. Why, right? Not just do because, but why, you know, and that's a big one for me. And I love that. I love that mindset, and I wish more people had it, in terms of, you know, breaking dogs down to their basic levels, their basic needs, and not treating them like fucking stuffed animals.
You know, we do a disservice, right? Like, the industry's in a weird place right now, man. Like, somebody sent me a study not too long ago that since COVID, there's been a 200% increase in professional dog trainers coast to coast in America. That's a scary statistic. Like,
no shit.
Yeah, bro. And like, a lot of people can't articulate what they do. Some people have a feel and a touch and just kind of do and flow, but can't always communicate that process. But a lot of fucking people don't know. And it's like, between the editing, the fucking AI, the sexy shit on social media, like, bro, there's people that I see with massive followings, bro, like cult followings in different avenues of dog training. And I fucking scratch my head, bro. I'm like, this motherfucker has no intimate fucking knowledge about the communication process, whether they're decoying or they're tracking. I'm like, they're just good salesmen, bro. And then people like the flow, they like the vibe, they like the edits, they like the background, and people get sucked into that shit, you know. And the layperson doesn't know dogs is even more susceptible to that.
who's that really well-known person that runs around jumping on fucking balance trainers message thread and just fucking hammers them for I forget his name.
It's Zach George.
Yeah, that fucking guy. Yeah, fuck. What?
Well, which is amazing, bro. Like, again, they're all frauds. And
yeah. Oh,
I stitched a video of his, like, fucking hammering this pit bull, bro. Like, taking it by the harness and fucking cranking it and pinning it to the fucking ground, bro. Like, I'm like, that was actually a very effective correction. That was positive punishment. Yeah. You actually used negative reinforcement in that session. Dude, you are a balanced trainer. Outstanding job, bro.
Yeah.
And this, like, I just launched this e-collar ebook that's free, and part of the mission of that e-collar ebook is how we're going to stop the force-free fakes bullshit. Like, they always use terms like science-based training, right? And my system is deeply rooted in science. How I teach dogs to thrive under the e-collar, right? And it's absolutely going to fucking, like, just stop them dead in their tracks. They'll always continue to fight you, but there's irrefutable evidence that I provide in this shit. And one of the companies or one of the organizations I speak about in this post is the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants, which you look at their website, bro, it's a force-free fraud with deep pockets and a loud voice. And it says strictly in their code of ethics to stop guaranteeing the client's results. Like, that in itself tells you that it's a fucking fraud. Yeah. It is a money grab fraud. 100%. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the trouble. I always get a kick out of watching Zach jump onto people and fucking go to town, and just you can't argue with these people. I love what you just start blocking them, just be done with them. Like, it's just stupid. It's not worth your time. And it is funny watching, like, you take the time to edit a fucking response. I love that. Like, I think that's fucking it's classic, and I enjoy it. So I've read some good stuff, like the one you like where, like, while I'm at the supermarket, I fucking banged your mom or something. Fucking, like, just ridiculous stuff.
I usually default to mom jokes pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
It's
classic, man.
They're
Absolutely.
not expecting it, so it's fantastic, man. Some dude was making fun of my jorts. And I said, yeah, bro,
imagine taking the time to comment on somebody else's page because of what they're wearing.
And I was like, bro, my bad, man. I was smashing your mom, and it was dark. Your dad came home unexpectedly, and I grabbed her shorts by mistake when I jumped out the window.
Oh, fuck. You shouldn't even block them. I want to see the response to that. Like, that's the best part. I want to see how good that is. So no, I love to hear it. So yeah, that aside, so what are you currently working on right now? You're pretty much just, charging full ahead, building out your schedule for seminars, I imagine, and taking in dogs when you can.
Yeah, man. Since I retired 8 years ago, I've really been on the road kind of nonstop, bro. It's been an absolute blessing. It's a grind. Don't get me wrong.
It is, yeah.
And you know what I did? I'm a tech idiot, bro. But what I did, fortunately, is most of these classes that I've taught is that I've propped up my iPhone, put on a mic, and just start babbling. Because a lot of the seminars, like maybe the first day is all lecture and theory.
Yep.
And of course, hands-on application where I've captured a tremendous amount of content, man, hundreds of hours of seminar footage that have just been sitting on my phone. Well, again, I'm a tech idiot, but I've got people that are on my team that are not. And long story short, we're putting together an online platform where I'm making a lot of this content. Again, it's unfiltered, it's raw, it's my truth. It's not sexy editing, bro. So we're doing a lot of making these seminars available for really reduced price because it is raw.
Is that like a Patreon or something? Is that what you're doing there?
It'll be a similar platform, not specifically with Patreon, but very similar idea, man. So all the things that I'm familiar with, like whether it's e-collar, tracking, decoying, dopamine box, you name it, man. Like I'm gonna have like individualized classes and put this out. And one of the things that we learned through COVID, like obviously COVID was the biggest human experiment of all time, but one of the things we did learn from that was the need or the possibility for online training. Like with e-learning, it's got its limitations, man, but it's got a lot of benefits as well, man. So just kind of moving in that direction. Still continue to teach. Like the real end goal would be to have an in-person dog trainer school where people do come to me, like slow the roll and the travel a little bit and have people come to me and learn hands-on dog training as well.
Train the trainer type stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, nice. I love that. So I started dog handling in 2017 when I was at Dwyer Hill at JTF2, and I jumped on a canine course there and started that process, working a dog in an assault squadron. Probably, like you said, the best experience of my life, man. I had a blast. I had been in the military for already 14 years at that point.
Oh, wow.
So now it was switching over to the dog side, but still keeping the other side, the assaulter side, which was so much fun. So, learning how to, bring a working dog into what we need it for, and then advancing that capability, which was really cool. I got to go to Iraq twice with a dog as well, which was fucking really awesome. I'm very blessed to do that, and really, like you said, make your mistakes, learn, have the dog look at you like you have six heads, being like, hey, what are you trying to teach me right now? Like, I don't get it, right? And understanding that clear communication system, because we have somebody up here named Brad Gillespie. I'm sure you've heard of Brad.
I know Brad well. He's a good dude.
Yeah, Brad's awesome. So he started our program back in 06 at the Hill, and now he's one of the head trainers for our Ontario Provincial Police, that kind of our largest set of canines in the country, right? And he's helped through the Canadian Police Canine Association. Help steer the ship of canine training, getting into communication-based training, like you said, science, actual science. And I think Brad's a fantastic guy, very, very humble, another guy who just makes mistakes, learns, evolves, has been fortunate enough to do so at many different levels for many different police agencies and military. So I kind of took my start from him and then go and like you said, like, watching it evolve and watching it change over the years and as an individual, and then with you talked about how dogs have saved your life. I absolutely hear you, and I absolutely feel you on that, because they did the same for me when I left the military. I started down the path of getting into some maybe behaviors I shouldn't have been, through gummies and alcohol, let's call it. And that was never me right before. And it was just kind of used as a coping mech. Right.
Sure.
And I turned to dogs, and same thing. And, they've completely shifted that mindset, right? So I'm very fortunate I like talking to people who have that same mindset. I've met a few people like that, which is incredible. So yeah, they do so much for us. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on here today and kind of share that. I would love to just sit and shoot the shit over canine takedowns. So I'd be all about that, listening to your best bites, especially when a dog retires with 80 bites. That's fucking insane. So that I'm in for a offline drinks and dogs talk.
Right on, brother.
I'm down for that. So yeah, no, I really appreciate it, man. For those of you who don't follow Justin, please get over there. Give his I'll make sure his social media information is in our notes. Please take a look. He's fantastic, great communicator, and out there doing good work with law enforcement across the nation. So really appreciate it, Justin, and look forward to talk soon. Thanks again.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, man.